So you've been selected to be the best man at your older brother's wedding. Fantastic privilege, and you're going to enjoy it. My commitment is for you to deliver the best man speech you possibly can. So I'm going to go this like a pocketbook size guide. First of all, it is a privilege to be able to do what you're doing. And this is a chance for you to make your big brother's day and all the guests there. You want to make this, you want to elevate the occasion to fit the respect and the love you have for your brother. So let's make that very clear. You've got a key role here. You're going to set the mood. But I want to talk about the structure because there is a well-trodden path here. You know, the structure has remained the same for best man speeches. I want to go through that. Think of this as a spine, and you can populate the bits in between in any way you want. You can introduce props. You can tell a poem. You can introduce a special guest even. But you've got 5 to 7 minutes, so there's not a lot of time to do many of those things. You might pick one as a special treat, a surprise. But here's the structure. First of all, clearly you introduce the bride and the groom, you introduce yourself, and you introduce you in relation to the groom, because you've been selected the best man. Then you want to tell an anecdote about you and your relationship with the best man. Now, in this case, it should be fairly simple because you're genetically connected and you'll have more stories than anyone else can possibly imagine because you'll have stories that he doesn't even know you know about because you're a younger brother. Then you want to welcome the bride because this is really important. Your brother has made a huge commitment. He's found someone he's fallen in love with. Happy. How happy is your brother? You want to elevate this part of your speech, make fun of him, but introduce the bride in the most glowing possible terms and the impact she's had on your brother. Then you want to, this is the fourth piece, you want to move into giving a piece of advice on marriage. I know, but it's a tradition, you can make it funny. To be honest, you have to make it funny. You're not going to seriously try and offer some sage advice on what maketh a marriage. And then you finish with a toast to the bride and groom. This way you can get everyone raising their glasses. It's the happiest ending to the happiest occasion, and your speech has rounded up all that really matters for this few minutes where you have taken control. You are the man in charge. It's a great opportunity. So let's just go through that again. One is the introduction, welcoming the guests, all of that, introducing yourself. Two, talking about your relationship with the groom. This way you can put some really funny stories in there. Three, introducing the bride. And, you know, this is where you really talk the bride up and you might just take a wee pop at your brother again. Fourth is giving some sage advice on how to keep, you know, a marriage intact. And this is where, you know, you've got to have a bit of humour here as well. And finally, it's raising your glass and toasting the bride and groom. So that's the structure. Now, what are the kind of things you can do to add in a bit of spice? I have pulled something out of my pocket that represents a little joke between my brother and myself. I have also seen people read poems. I've seen people mimic or make up telegram messages from some famous people in the world. I've seen people do all sorts of things. I've even seen appearing on a screen behind the best man a picture of his brother, the groom, lying in his bath naked at the age of 1. So there's all these things you can do because you want to get a laugh. You want it to be sincere. You want it to be a happy occasion. So that is it. That is it. Now, preparing for the best man speech is, I think, really important because you don't want to be going up there with a sheet of paper. No one wants you to read. You can take notes. If you take notes, these are just prompts. Have them on index cards or postcards. So you can take the notes that will just prompt you to remember what you need to say. And obviously, if there's any names in there, you want to get the names right. The other thing is to make sure that you practice beforehand. Now, use your voice, practice it again and again and again, become comfortable with it. And the other thing is when you're delivering a speech, there is a tendency, and you see this with children, and adults can mimic children when they're nervous or they want to get something over with. You don't want this to be over with. You want to stay in the moment. You want to be the center of the occasion. You want to lift the occasion and give it the gravitas that it deserves. So pause. Don't rush it. You can change your pace. You can vary the tone of your voice. All these things make it more dramatic. Pauses are dramatic. And this is a great opportunity for you to create a bit of drama. Humor is drama. Stories are drama. People, the central characters are drama. Your relationship with the groom is drama. So that is what a best man's speech does. You introduce yourself. Hello, my name is, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm the younger brother of the groom, and I'm also his best man. So I'm here to tell you that all the heroic stories you've heard about his younger days are wildly exaggerated. So that's how you might do that, but that's the start. You might then move on to, growing up with my older brother was educational, shall I say. He taught me a lot. He taught me, for example, when the vase dropped from the cupboard onto the living room floor and burst into small pieces, he taught me how to blame the dog. But he also taught me how to ride a bicycle and to speak up for myself and never to stand down, to be brave and to pursue a life of courage. He's given me all of that. And, he's a kind person. He's a generous person. Then you talk about the bride. When the bride came into our lives, I was skeptical. I mean, who would put up with his terrible singing, his useless puns, his obsession with fantasy football, and his ability to fall asleep unfailingly after 5 minutes into a film? But she more than did that. She more than tolerated that. She has made him the best version of himself that is imaginable. She's brought kindness. She's witty. She's beautiful, as you can see. When my family met her and she left that first night, we all looked at each other and we said, how has this happened? Where did she come from? Can we keep her? That was how excited we were to meet the bride and the impression she made on us. And I know she's going to make my brother a very happy man. And he's going to survive the wedding, because here's a bit of wedding advice. This is when you might go into the marriage advice. Brother, the best thing a man can do is to always be wrong, or at least make your wife think you're wrong and acknowledge you're wrong, like a puppy. Like the poor puppy that got into trouble when you broke the vase. You might go into that. Then you go on to the toast. The toast is, ladies and gentlemen, raise your glasses and let's toast the couple, the happy couple, because this is a day of joy. We wish them joy, laughter, fun, happiness for the rest of their lives. Raise your glasses. Let's toast the bridegroom. That's how it goes. Then it's finished. Okay? It's a well-worn route that you're taking, but you have got all the opportunities you want to take to bring a bit of variety to it. So that's the best man speech. And it's particularly a best man speech for your older brother. I hope that's useful. If you want to find out more, go to my series on your Vida. Thank you.